This is Alfred, Black Dice Gaming. So today I'm going to talk not just to DMs, I'm going to talk to players. You know, basically giving hints and tips. You know, kind of like what to bring to the game and what to show your players to be able to use. So this one, shout out to Emily. It goes to you. Basically, you asked that question in our first video, where what should I bring? You know, how do I get into it? How do you get into it is pretty much the same way. But now I'm going to talk a little bit about what you should bring. First of all, let me go ahead and talk to the player character, or the player themselves. What you are to bring is a player's handbook. That is the most important object you can bring. Second is a set of dice. That's primary. And just so you know, there's no such thing as too many dice. I have a Crown Royal bag filled with dice. So enjoy. It's a great collection to have. The next thing that you might want to even look into and bring is different kinds of apps. Sometimes the DM themselves won't have character sheets for people to fill. So instead, maybe you might want to look into an app like a character generator, or even D&D Beyond is a good one. Just so that if he isn't prepared in that aspect, mind you, DMs, if you're not prepared like that, you know, hey, shame on you. It gives you something to be able to help the DM in case they're not quite prepared in that aspect. So the second thing I would like to mention is an app that I actually located in the app stores, and it is amazing. It's called the App of Holding. So now, instead of having to erase your gold and write it back down, this App of Holding, and that's actually how you can look it up in, it basically gives you a way to be able to change what items you're holding, so that you know what you have at the palm of your hands. I myself have it even on my phone, so it's great. Now let me go ahead and talk to the DM in this aspect. DMs. The Holy Trinity is the most important thing you can have. That includes the Dungeon Master's Guide, the Player's Handbook, and the Monster Manual. The Dungeon Master's Guide allows you to be able to run a story. It tells you how to generate traps, how to put traps in dungeons, how to make cities, and how cities work. It tells you how to put your players into games, even good hooks to keep them going. Another great thing that the DMG has is a lot of magical items. So this is great. The next thing is that player's handbook, because just like the DM might not be prepared, the player might not be prepared. So you want to make sure that you can actually help your players with actually having one handy. There will be still things that you will find that are quite useful in there, like how to run a combat, or even mundane items and weapons. So player's handbook is very important. Monster manual, please. If you don't have a monster manual, it's time to get one, because that is where all your enemies are located. You're not going to be able to run a game without this. So please, feel free to go to any store and get one. So what kind of DM tools would I ask a DM to possibly have? A lot of DM tools that I use are free to find on Google Play or the Play Store or whatever you use. The first one is called the Loot Generator for D&D 5e. You no longer have to roll a die and look through a huge chart to find out that this person's only getting 5 copper. Now all you do is set the level of your party, hit a button, it's done. In fact, it even has a horde feature. So let's just say the enemy has a base and you're raiding that base and you find a treasure to the base, all you have to do is hit a button again and it does the same. It does it for loot items, it does it for magic items, and it even does it for spell scrolls. I think it's fantastic. I don't have to work so hard. Let's go back to the DM that's not prepared. Like I said again, shame on you. But we have hard lives. I mean, some of us have jobs, so, you know, I know that times are tough right now, but I mean, some of us have jobs. A lot of us have children. You know, we're running around. So it might be hard to create everything, including a dungeon. That's fine. I found this app, it's called the Dungeon Map Generator. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. You tell how many people are in your party, how threatening you want the dungeon to be. You put all the parameters that it asks you, you hit a button and boom, dungeon! Including traps, roaming monsters, rooms with monsters and traps and treasure. It's great. So that's another thing I would tell you guys to look into. Now the next one is called Critical Role. Just so you know, I'm not going to breach any kind of protocol. It's spelled R-O-L-L. But what this does is if you roll a crit or a crit failure, instead of it just being double or whatever have you, you can now add flavor. This will work for sharpened weapons, ranged weapons, bashing damage, and even spells. So I think it's fantastic. It's easy to use. And every game I've ever worked with that had this has given positive results from it. So DMs, that one is one of the ones I would say is so primary, so important. The app of holding, I have one myself. I'd say if you want to basically keep track of your own stuff, like as if you're running an NPC character or something, that's fine. Get one. I mean, even if you play yourself, it's always good to have. It doesn't take much space. The same people who make the app of holding though, they have a 5e bestiary, a 5e items, and a 5e spell list. So awesome. I mean, it's all in alphabetical order. You can literally scroll through and find exactly what you need. You can even bookmark, especially in the monsters you want to use. So all you have to do is just get to the spot you need to be. Now players, I'm going to go back to you guys. So other than apps and other than books, what should we get? I'm going to go ahead and say that the next thing you definitely want to get as a player is spell cards. So you have to cast a spell. The spell is Bane, and you are looking through the book for the next 10 minutes to find out what Bane is. All the while, your player characters and your DM are sitting there snoring. Now, with these spell cards, you can flip to the card that it belongs to. You can put it on your character, with your character sheet, as a prepared spell. So awesome! All you have to do is look at it. This is what it does. Boom, you're done. Let's go back to DMs. Monster manual, sometimes yeah. Beasts are hard to find, or they might be in a different spot, or you might have to flip for another hour and a half, especially when you have different kinds of monsters. I mean, really, if you have 2 cultists, an Umber Hulk, and a dragon, now you're going back and forth through this monster manual. Monster cards, they come in 3 different packs. The first one is 0 to 5, the second one is 6 to 16, and the third one is 17th and up. So literally, you have everything at the palm of your hands. But you're thinking, your players are thinking, well, what if I don't do spells? There are cards for you. They actually have a martial ability and racial ability card set as well, so that you don't have to keep searching through your character sheet to find all this information. All these things are sold at usually your common game store, your normal game store. I would say if you would like to look down below, to find out. Our sponsor, Silver Dragon Games, is also one, and they do deliver, so that's fine. But either way, you can definitely find these. They're always out in the open. I would say definitely go to a game store. Brick and mortar game stores are actually having a lot of trouble recently with this situation that we're going through. So please, help your game stores out. DMs, the next thing you need, especially if you have trouble coming up with your own idea for games, is a module. The module books are great for Dungeons & Dragons. There's so many different ideas. And not only that, but you don't even have to run the whole module. You can use pieces. There's been a time that I've ran a game and I couldn't figure out what to do. I ran a one-shot in a death house with these people. They loved it because it took them away from what they were doing just to have this nice, quick little one-shot, but it still kept their characters moving in the direction that they wanted to go in. So, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, we love you. The things that we have done and said is because not only do we love you guys, but we love what we do. I love being a DM, and I love having players to play with. And gaming is so important because everyone's stuck in technology nowadays. It's so nice to be able to sit with your friends and play a game that is 100% conversational. So guys, please like, share, and subscribe. Smash that like button, guys. And visit our Patreon, because we can't be successful without you guys helping us out. This stuff is not easy or cheap to do, so hey, help us out. Maybe we'll be able to give you some information in the future. And as always, happy trails.